So today, I guess I'd say I find myself a little bit discouraged, which is okay. And I'll explain why I think. But first, why I'm discouraged. I've been at this now for almost a year, making these videos and then everything that comes along with it, which is a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of listening, a lot of conversations. Um, and there are a lot of answers out there. Good answers, definitely some bad ones, but lots of good answers out there. You could go on YouTube and watch TED Talks or all different types of videos. You can go on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and find all sorts of good content. You could read books. You could read articles. You could go on social media and listen to people, read people have to say, and there's an abundance of answers. And that's what has me discouraged, is that if we have all these answers, right, and let's even assume 50% of them are just trash, right, just nonsense and not well-intentioned people or whatever it is, right, let's even just assume that. But you still have a shitload of answers. You have so much information on how our minds work, of how we think, the flaws in our thinking, what leads us astray, how to try and be better, how to try and improve, whether it be mental toughness or clarity and logic and how we think, how to be more empathetic, how to be more understanding, how to listen better. You go on and on and on, just answers, just a never ending queue of answers. Again, what's discouraging about that is why aren't they working? Why aren't the answers leading to improvements? And that's an overstatement, right? Certainly to say nothing's working and there's no improvement is wrong. There is improvement. Things are working. But why not at the level at which it would seem it should be? If we have all these answers, right? I could watch 100 different YouTube videos today about why people are so certain even when they're wrong and why it's so hard to change your mind, right? The answers are there. People use different metaphors, they use different parallels. Some are more anecdotal, some are more data driven, but they all get to the same point of how we think and how we function. So if the answers are there, why are so many people still doing it? It's discouraging. It's disappointing. It feels like, for me personally, on an individual level, what else can I bring to this, right? Just another metaphor, just another parallel, just another way to say it. What's that? But then even, that's just me being a little bit selfish. At a more macro level, what does it mean for society, right? Like, sure, we might get smarter and get better answers, and maybe they'll help a bit more. But it seems like mathematically, there's not much more water we're going to squeeze out of that rock. We have a good sense of what it is. So that's the discouraging part. But the reason why it's okay for me personally is, to me, that becomes a problem. That becomes a puzzle to solve. And that's what I love, again, just selfishly. To me, trying to figure that out of like, hey, how do we know the answers, but we can't get people to act on them? We can't get people to use them. Let's figure that out. Let's ask that question. Let's get an answer to that question. And I think, and I've talked about this before, and it's somewhat arrogant of me to say, and who's to say if I'm right or wrong, but I think that's one of the fundamental issues. I don't think enough people are stopping to ask that question. I think, again, tons of smart, well-intentioned people are figuring out answers to really hard, difficult questions around human behavior and how we think, but they're missing that first one, which is, how do I actually distribute this or get this out there in such a way in which it can be digested and actually utilized? And there seems to be something fundamental in that we're just overlooking. And, you could look at the obvious, which is you need people to want to receive that information. And not even just to want to receive it, because tons of people read these books or watch these videos. But to me, you need them to appreciate what it means to actually act upon that information. You need to have that brutal honesty with yourself to say, hey, if I'm going to enact or employ this answer that I see on this TED Talk or this book that I read, what does that actually mean? Did I already kind of know that was the answer or have a sense of it, but I wasn't doing it anyway? Well, why? What was holding me back? What's the truth for me in my math, right? What do I actually value that led me to say, I'm going to go do this other thing. I'm going to do it a different way, even after I watch the video for the 15th time or read the book. I get it. Conceptually, it's nice. It's awesome. I could talk about it in different settings and sound educated and kind of make myself feel better a little bit. But what's at the root? What are my root values that are actually leading me away from this? Because until you face that and until you reconcile that and understand what do you actually want, what do you actually care about, it's not going to matter. And even that is an answer, right? That's another answer. But it's the hard work. I guess that's what it seems to come down to. It's just the hard work. And that's not sexy. That's not exciting. People don't want to buy the book on that. People don't want to listen to the video on that, which is like, hey, there's nothing I'm going to tell you here that you probably don't really have a sense of. You can go listen to other people talk about it way better than I could. It's just you got to do the hard work. It's not that you have to do it, you have to want to do it. You have to genuinely, truly want to do it, to see the benefit and believe and understand there's some reason you should do this. That's simple, but it's super fucking hard. And sometimes, a lot of the times perhaps, we will get to an answer that's like, oh shit, I don't want to do that. I have no interest. That's not for me. And that's an inconvenient truth that's difficult for us to face. But that's the part. I think that's the part. We have enough of the answers. We need to get to that part. How do you actually execute on it?